You got a Volca sample? You want to be a pro? Well, you've come to the right place. I want it to look tough, but these are the only sunglasses I could find. The Volca sample is a great little sample sequencer, but it's got some limitations that just in the process of using one normally, you're going to bump up against it. What I wanted to share are 3 of my pro tips for using the Volca sample. I don't know if I'm really a pro, but whatever. That's what I'm going to be calling them. And in this video, I'm using the Volca sample too. There's 2 different versions of it, but as far as I know, this should all work the same on the Volca sample one as well. And as I'm going through, if I've covered these tips and you have some advice that I did not cover, please leave a comment sharing it both for myself and for anyone else who might be interested in that. And, as we're going through, if you enjoy the video and you haven't already, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. So let's get into it. Tip 1 is how to get a kind of lo-fi delay effect. Now, the Volca sample does have reverb built in, but sometimes we want a little bit more than reverb. So while there's not a delay effect in it, you can kind of approximate it with a few steps. So first you want to choose a sample. I've got this vocal hit here. Next you turn on looping for that sample, and lastly you turn the decay control for the sample volume until you've got it at the length you want, and bam, delay. I like to then add a bit of reverb. It just gives it a little more space. And if you want a faster delay, you just have to shorten the sample length. Tip number 2 has to do with motion sequencing. I noticed in some of my other Volca sample videos that people were surprised or were not aware that you could change parameters for a sample, per step in the sequencer. So I wanted to just go over that. In this case, here's a simple beat. This flute sample is playing a C, but what if I want the 2nd and 3rd Cs to be different notes? So first I'd hit the step mode button to go into step sequencing. Next I would hold down the step I want to change and press the function button, and finally, while holding the function button, you turn the speed knob until you transpose it by the amount of semitones you want. And also a bonus tip, I guess, if you hold function and turn speed, it will show how much you're changing the pitch of your sample by semitones instead of just numbers. Tip number 3 is a way to make the most of the somewhat limited memory in the Volca sample, and this one is also just kind of an old sampler trick. And it has to do with what we talked about just a moment ago about how you can transpose samples pretty easily by holding function and turning speed. So in a program like Audacity, you pop in a sample. In this case, I've got this piano sample. I'll go to the change speed effect. I set the multiple to 2, and now we've got the sound of a very caffeinated piano performance. Now I've got that loaded into the Volca. So what I'm going to do is I hold function while turning the speed knob and pitch it down an octave, that would be 12 semitones, to get it back in its original key. As you might have noticed, that does introduce a lot of audio artifacts because you've basically cut the amount of audio information in half. But I would say that because it still saves on memory, it is pretty useful. And personally, I do find the sound of those audio artifacts actually kind of pleasing and fun. So those are my 3 big tips for the Volca sample. I hope you found the video entertaining and, more importantly, helpful. Like I mentioned before, if you've got a tip with the Volca sample that I did not cover, please leave a comment and share it, because, knowledge is power. And anyway, I want to thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video and you haven't already, please consider leaving a like and hitting subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, thank you so much for the support. Thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.